Boxing truth here. Sergey Kovalev must crush and dominate Andre Ward in the upcoming rematch on June 17th, the highly anticipated rematch between these two. Kovalev needs a stronger performance in the rematch since he got no credit for outboxing the supposed superior boxer and better technician than Andre Ward. I finally watched the first fight between the two for the first time in quite some time. It's not a fight I like to watch. It was a disappointing night. I was certain that Kovalev won the fight when the final bell rang, and was very disappointed, and I am very angry with the decision, especially after reading the scorecards, what rounds were given to each fighter. It's very, very obvious that Sergey Kovalev was screwed by incompetent judges on November 19th. Kovalev got no credit for outboxing Ward, didn't get credit for the harder, more significant punches, the ring generalship, and also the knockdown that he recorded in the second round, which really gave Kovalev a cushion for defending his straps on November 19th. But Ward was given every benefit of the doubt. He was given rounds that he clearly didn't win. He was getting credit for having better rounds instead of actually winning the rounds. But after watching the first fight recently, Kovalev dominated in the first half of that fight. He established his distance, his range, which is what really makes Kovalev a very difficult fighter to beat. Sergey Kovalev is another fighter that I consider an uncrowned king. He really should be the pound for pound king right now, since Roman Gonzalez lost, and I don't really debate that decision. It was a very close fight. Manny Pacquiao didn't get the decision against Floyd, and he's been taking in-house fights. So Kovalev really should be the true pound for pound king. He's been fighting the fights he's supposed to be fighting. He's been taking the risky fights. He's been taking the fights that he needs in order to make him a bigger star, and make him a bigger attraction, and to get better recognition as a fighter. Sergey Kovalev hasn't been protected. He's one of the few fighters in boxing that you don't have to protect. You can roll the dice with him against anybody. It doesn't matter the style. That's how confident Kovalev's handlers are in him, and that's why they are willing to put him in these type of fights, especially being the road warrior, going to other fighters' hometowns and knocking them out and taking their straps. Kovalev is a great fighter. In my opinion, Kovalev is the most difficult fighter to beat in the world of boxing right now, which is why I have him high on my pound for pound list. And if he records an official victory on June 17th over Andre Ward, actually gets credit this time around, I might just end up changing my avatar to Crusher Kovalev. Kovalev is really something that I've not used to seeing before. His style, his range, the way he can deal with these different styles. He's been in there with a multitude of styles. Sluggers, boxer punchers, movers, slicksters, technicians. No style bothers Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev may very well be boxing truth. He is the truth, because he's always shown in his fights that his style is always a superior style, and that he is always the superior fighter. And he showed it on November 19th against Andre Ward, the considered best fighter in the world. The guy that was supposed to be the biggest test for Kovalev. But after reviewing the first fight, Kovalev did make some mistakes. He let Ward get back into the fight in the second half of the fight. That was his mistake. He let Ward gain confidence in the second half of the fight. That was one of the mistakes Kovalev made. That was not the Sergey Kovalev I'm used to seeing. The Sergey Kovalev I'm used to seeing is always dominant, always pummeling his opponents, always taking the hope out of his opponents' belief that they could win the fight. And that's what went wrong in the Andre Ward fight. Ward made it competitive in the second half after getting thoroughly dominated and outboxed and dropped and hurt in the first half of the fight. But it changed after the sixth round. Kovalev was not as effective offensively. His jab wasn't as effective. He wasn't landing his right hand. And Ward, he was competitive in the second half and got more credit than he should have gotten. But he did win a few rounds. Overall, after watching the fight again recently, I still had Kovalev winning 8-4. You can argue Ward won as many as 5 rounds, but I believe that's the most you can argue for Andre Ward. Still loses the fight by 3 points with the knockdown. But Kovalev fell off in the second half. He wasn't as effective offensively with his jab, with his hook, with his right hand. He wasn't going to the body enough. But he dug deep. He did show championship mettle as Ward was trying to turn the fight around. But Kovalev stopped him in his tracks in the 10th, a round that Kovalev didn't get credit for. He also hurt Andre Ward bad with a body shot in the 12th round, a round I also felt Kovalev won, but he didn't get credit for by the judges. And now, months have passed. The built-up Andre Ward and his team are desperate, trying to play mind games, as they obviously are very concerned going into this rematch. Ward, it was either retire or take this rematch. He had no choice. Besides, he wasn't going to turn down that lucrative payday now that he's going to get even more overpaid for this fight. Could be a cash out. Kovalev just has to make a few minor adjustments in this fight to really turn the fighter, to really get an official win over Andre Ward. He did make some mistakes, and one of those mistakes was he didn't go to the body enough. If Kovalev touches the body more, throws his hook more to the body and head, be a little more aggressive, keep popping the jab, and keep beating the belief out of Ward that he could win the fight. If the fight does enter the second half. I do believe Kovalev was empty after the 6th round. I do believe he was fighting on fumes in the second half of the fight because everything changed after the 6th round. He wasn't as fast, he wasn't as sharp, and he wasn't as effective offensively with his jab and his right hand. But Ward is the one that has to make more adjustments in this fight. He needs to prove he has a lot to prove in this fight. He got outboxed the first fight, got off to a bad start, made it competitive in the second half, but I still felt he lost some rounds in the second half, at least 2 rounds in the second half of that fight. But as long as Kovalev makes the necessary adjustments, comes in better shape, comes in more motivated, this fight is really within his grasp. Just a few minor adjustments, and he'll get that official win over Andre Ward. It's a different fight, a different night, different judges even. You got Steve Weisfeld, you got Glenn Feldman, and I forgot the other judge's name. Oh, Dave Moretti. All right. Dave Moretti's a fuckboy. I don't trust him. So That's definitely a judge that could be bought for Ward. I don't trust Dave Moretti at all. He's turned in some trash scorecards on a number of occasions. He actually thought Mayweather won 10 rounds against Manny Pacquiao. Atrocious scorecard that was. Kovalev can't leave it to the hands of the judges. He needs to dominate Andre Ward. He needs to destroy Andre Ward. He needs to show Andre Ward the crush. Andre Ward kept asking, where was the crush? In the second half of that fight. And to an extent, I can agree with Andre Ward. I didn't see the crusher in the second half of the fight. Sergey Kovalev needs to bring out the real crusher. He needs to show the real crusher in this fight. He needs to do a demolition job. He needs to do what people expect of him. He's not going to get credit for outboxing Ward. That's already been proven on November 19th. He's not going to get credit for outpointing him, outlanding him, landing the bigger shots. He needs to do what people expect of him. He needs to go in there and crush Andre Ward, destroy and dominate him, and prove once and for all that Andre Ward is nothing but a fake champion. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.